Greetings, friends. I'm Ken Carter, and I have the honor of serving as the resident bishop of the Western North Carolina Conference of the United Methodist Church, my home conference. It's really wonderful to be back. And I give thanks for you as you share in dialogue in this town hall. I first want to give thanks to God for the Black church. I give thanks for the soil, the good soil in which the seeds of the gospel are planted and in which amazing spiritual leadership grows out of that. And that is many of you. I give thanks for that. I'm grateful for the way the Black church embodies something very much at the heart of what it means to be a Methodist. And that is that you are passionate about personal and social holiness. Personal holiness is the way you praise God, the way you are devoted to God, the way you walk with and trust in God as you are marching to Zion. And that's just obvious whenever I'm around you, whether that's with one or two people or when I'm in one of your churches. That's personal holiness. And social holiness is the way you live that out in the world, the way you change your workplaces, the way you inspire people as teachers, as business people, as people who work in the fields of healthcare and other fields. How you bring your faith, you embody it to change your environment, and how you change our world by being a part of the democratic process and helping us to pass laws that help all people to flourish, and how you don't see a separation between personal and social holiness. And you have a lot to teach, say, the Anglo Church, where we sometimes separate those things. You have a way of integrating them together. I'm grateful that you're connectional. African American United Methodist are leaders and voices at every level of our church. And whenever I am involved in any level of our church, from the grassroots to the general conference and everything in between, there many of you are, and I give thanks that you care about the connection, that you are connectional. I rejoice in that. I want to say a word of appreciation that includes within it a note of lament, and that is to confess that you loved the Methodist Church when the Methodist Church did not always love you, and you stayed with this Methodist Church as mature disciples when the Methodist Church created policies and structures that excluded you and segregated you, and yet you remained. And that is a miracle. And it's something that you have a lot to teach us in an environment when some people, because something is happening in the church that is not what they would love or what they would prefer, they began to talk about departing. You lived with that for more than a generation, and you stayed, and you impacted us, and you modeled that for us. We are on a journey to being the beloved community, and that includes being on a journey toward equity. And one facet of that is the salaries of clergy. And I want you to know that real changes have happened in the last few years, and last year, which was my first year in Western North Carolina. We invested in the salaries of spiritual leaders in some of our anchor churches in Black communities across the conference, and we did it in a more systemic way for persons who have served longer tenures, and this will benefit clergy of color. My own journey with the Black church began as a United Methodist when I was ordained a deacon by Bishop L. Scott Allen. He was the last bishop elected in the former central jurisdiction. And in the union of the churches, he became a United Methodist bishop, and he ordained me. And one of my formative district superintendents was Reverend Andrew Brown. He was my district superintendent when my wife and I had the experience of help to start a new United Methodist church. And I think of many formative leaders. One I want to lift up, I can't lift up them all, is Dr. Candace Lewis, with whom I had the privilege of serving on the cabinet with in Florida. And she is now the president and dean of Gammon Theological Seminary, which has trained so many African American leaders in our church. I thank God for you, and I wish you God's blessings as you continue this conversation about what it means to be the Black church and how you are a source and seed for renewal throughout the whole United Methodist Church.